Mellow greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet. And today is Monday, the day before Election Day. I can honestly say I have never been this excited for a Monday in my whole life. It was an extremely long weekend, and a lot of crap happened. Even myself, I live in rural New England, and everywhere I went this weekend, there were Trump caravans, people in, trucks, 30, 40 pickup trucks with lift kits in them, and 40 or 50 Trump flags hanging off the back, all of them nylon and flammable and made in China. But this was all over the place. I even got to see a bunch of people standing on a street corner with Trump signs outside of a Trump store. And there were two people next to them on the end of the line who were holding up signs that said, "These people are assholes." I kind of got a kick out of that. So apparently I wasn't alone. And there were a whole bunch of Trumpy events all over the country. And I'm going to show you kind of what it all looks like when you look at it at the same time rather than a bunch of like small independent events. But before we start, I do want to point out that it's that time of the year in the fall, in the autumn, when it starts to get cool, it starts to get dark out early, and insects start getting strange. I don't know if you've ever noticed bees in the fall, but all summer they laze about and they do their bee stuff, and they're having a good old bee time. And then in the fall, there hits a point, like the first time it gets cool, where all of a sudden the bees just fly like very low to the ground and erratically, and they just fly around like this and they bump into shit. And yeah, it's because they know the end is near. It's almost time to, go to sleep and be quiet and go away for a while. And I can't help but to think that all of these Trump supporters who are flailing all over the nation all weekend because they literally don't know what else to do, they remind me of those bees. So, bzz, 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 bzz. Let me show you what the busy hive of idiots was up to this weekend. And you can take a look at all of it put together. And then you tell me how you feel about going into Election Day tomorrow and what the state of the general psyche is of the Trumpers across the nation. So here we go. Let's start off with this beauty right here. In a first, ICE agents are poised to respond to potential Election Day unrest. This was announced late on Friday during the news dump. There's always a news dump on Friday afternoons because then there's nobody in the office who's going to respond to any questions or emails from reporters until Monday, and by then something else will have happened. It's why this is just an accepted norm in the journalism v. government relationship. So officers are among other Department of Homeland Security agents who have been told to be ready to deploy to protect federal property in Washington. This comes on the heels of the leader of the Oath Keepers stating that he has upwards of 40,000 armed veterans and that he is going to have groups of people stationed in and around Washington, D.C. to rapidly respond to Antifa attacks on the White House. So apparently this is a thing. I wasn't aware. I mean, I have the Antifa membership card. I go to the meetings in the basement once a week. You have to knock on the door and then say the password, and you have to bring something for the snack table. Yes, I know it always has to be vegan and it's irritating, but, these are the sacrifices we make to be the Antifas. ICE, CBP, and the Federal Protective Services are now part of the Protecting American Communities Task Force, established in June through an executive order by President Trump in response to, quote, anarchists and left-wing extremists who he said sought to damage monuments and federal buildings. Of course, keep in mind that ICE, CBP, and Federal Protective Services are all part of the DOJ and thus under Trump's command through William Barr. Convenient that he lumped them all together into one giant Trumpian task force. If this task force sounds familiar to you, yes, these are also the same people who were deployed in Portland and Seattle who started black bagging people and driving them off in rental vans. Yeah, so they're going to be out on Election Day too. I feel so much safer. Thanks, Donald Trump. What else do we got? Racist as fuck. White House observes National Day of Remembrance for Americans killed by illegal aliens. Last night, the White House released a proclamation observing November 1st as, quote, National Day of Remembrance for Americans killed by illegal aliens, a day made up by President Donald Trump to support his endless crusade to demonize immigrants and foreign asylum seekers. It should be noted that November 1st is already the Mexican Dia de los Muertos, an annual holiday commemorating dead family members. But of course, Trump felt the need to whiten and steal that too. Remember, he's the guy with the mucho best taco salad in New York. What else you got, taco salad guy? As American citizens, the proclamation reads, these precious lives are an irreplaceable piece of our national community. We solemnly stand with their families, our angel families, who have endured what no American family should ever have to suffer. I'm sorry, is the pain somehow worse if one of your family members is killed by somebody who's brown or beige instead of puce or mauve? Is it somehow worse if they don't have a card that says they were born here? I don't see, how are they angel families? Are all families who lose family members angel families, or just ones who have family members that are killed by brown people from south of the border? I didn't know this whole made up thing existed, so I'm kind of getting up to speed in real time with the rest of you, because holy crap. The proclamation then largely goes on to praise Trump for working with immigration and customs enforcement officers, customs and border protection officers, border patrol agents, and other law enforcement officials. However, the proclamation does not actually provide a number for people allegedly killed by undocumented immigrants. Quote, under my watch, the voices of our angel families no longer fall on deaf ears. Americans who are killed by illegal aliens are no longer forgotten, and we're ensuring they will have not died in vain. Proclamation also declares an agency he created in the Department of Homeland Security called, quote, Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement, or VOICE, witty acronym, for tracking crimes committed by undocumented immigrants. Wow. So I guess he didn't know the number either, and part of his proclamation was to make a task force to find out the number of people that were actually killed by illegal aliens so that he can then promote it as a reason to have created this task force, this proclamation, and this holiday all at the same time. Yeah. All right, what else we got? Biden team cancels Texas event after highway ambush by MAGA cavalry. This was the big news this weekend. Joe Biden's presidential campaign canceled a Friday event in Austin, Texas, after harassment from a pro-Trump contingent. When the Biden campaign bus drove to Austin, it was greeted by a blockade of pro-Trump demonstrators, leading to what one Texas House representative described as an escalation, quote, well beyond safe limits. The cancellation comes amid national anxiety about voter intimidation, a tactic the Trump campaign has implicitly endorsed. Remember I told you about that Trump caravan I saw this weekend? Remember I told you it wasn't the only one? Oh, just wait, there's more. I'm just going to finish rocking through this one first. Historian Dr. Eric Servini was driving to help with the Biden campaign stop when he filmed a line of pickup trucks along the highway, many of them flying Trump flags. The drivers were, quote, waiting to ambush the Biden-Harris campaign bus as it traveled from San Antonio to Austin. Quote, these Trump supporters, many of whom were armed, surrounded the bus on the interstate and attempted to drive it off the road. They outnumbered police 50-1, and they ended up hitting a staffer's car. See, that's what one of those Trump caravans looks like. I'm pretty sure you've seen one somewhere where you live in the last month or so. I saw like 3 of them this weekend. Side note, kudos to all you Trump supporters who keep buying all those American flags and Trump flags that are made in China. Well played, comrades. Well played. Biden campaign staffers said supporters surrounded the bus on the highway, slowed down in front of it, attempting to stop it or run it off the road. Now, keep in mind, if this was Venezuela and we were running one of our CIA coups and the opposition had a fleet of vehicles that tried to run the presidential nominee off the road, we would be reducing them to a smoldering glassy crater with bomb after bomb after bomb. But here, we laugh. Oh, it's funny. In fact, it was so funny, President Trump even retweeted it, because of course he did. Because that's what Donald Trump does. U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday retweeted footage of a truck convoy of his supporters apparently trying to run a Biden campaign bus off a highway in central Texas. There were several videos taken of the Friday altercation, including one showing a pickup truck with 2020 flags ramming into another car in order to get closer to the campaign bus. Neither Biden nor Kamala Harris were on the bus, but a Democratic candidate for the U.S. House was. Quote, "I love Texas," Trump wrote above the footage of the Biden campaign bus surrounded by roughly a dozen pickup trucks. Yes, that's right. Donald Trump loves when people shit all over the idea of democracy and a fair election by trying to run his opposition into a ditch. Yeah, that's great. I mean, they didn't know Biden wasn't on the bus. They had no fucking idea. But Trump thinks this is cool. Because of course Trump thinks this is cool. This is literally how Trump runs his presidency, by driving things into ditches on the side of the road. Very on brand, Donald. Well played. Now, not only did this happen near my house, not only did this happen in Texas, but all over the country, Trump supporters spent the weekend clogging America's highways and stopping traffic. I find this ironic because Trump supporters and the talking heads on the right are the ones that crow the loudest about Black Lives Matter and other, quote, leftist protests that involve blocking traffic. It's the reason why all these nudnik fucking Republican states keep trying to ram through new bills that provide people legal immunity from running over protesters in the middle of the road. So, I don't know. Is it time to bust out all the right-wing tropes now? Hey, who the fuck are all these people? Why don't they go get a job? Hey, if you block me on my way to work, I'll run you over. Hey, does any of this sound familiar? It should, because it's the dumb shit y'all have been saying for the last year non-fucking stop before you fucking took your hypocrisy hat and pulled it all the way down over your body like a giant full-body condom of idiocy. Assholes. In a show of support of questionable political value, pro-Trump demonstrators clogged freeways Sunday across the country, from blue states like New Jersey, New York, and Washington state, to red-leaning Texas and purple Arizona. Woo! We shut it down, baby! We shut it down! Says one pro-Trump videographer as he pans the camera, nearly 360 degrees, showing viewers the group of cars that have brought traffic to a complete standstill along the northbound Garden State Parkway in New Jersey. Isn't this the part where I'm supposed to talk about, if there's an ambulance that was trying to get through there and you guys blocked it, that would be murder. You should all be arrested for attempted murder because you're trying to keep people from getting to hospitals. Right, but oh look, now all of a sudden you feel politically impotent. You feel like you have issues that aren't going to be heard by the government. You feel like you're about to be on the losing end of the stick, so what do? You go out and protest and block traffic. Huh. You suck. Everyone on the right lane sucks. Nearby driver Maddie Pryor says in another video capturing the incident, which Pryor posted to Twitter because of course she did. Another user claimed the stoppage caused emergency personnel to take a delayed route to the hospital as the pro-Trump demonstration blocked an entire freeway exit. That's it. Charge them all with attempted murder. You might as well. They're obviously unemployed, don't have jobs because they're out protesting, out in the street, blocking traffic, right? In neighboring New York, Trump supporter Abigail Marone captured a line of cars and trucks with pro-Trump and at least one pro-law enforcement thin blue line flag on the route between Seaford and Montauk in Long Island. Using the hashtag, quote, Trump train, users also captured Trump supporters driving along New York State Route 25 and claimed to see a similar lineup on Route 106 in Hicksville. All over the country, this is what they're up to. Like bees in the fall with no fucking clue what to do. And they're just haphazardly flying around in circles, bumping into shit, trying to figure out what's going to happen when it gets really cold and nobody cares about them anymore. But don't worry, the FBI is now probing the Trump caravan confrontation with Biden. Oops, did none of you fucking nudniks think about the fact that you might end up in prison for trying to drive a campaign bus that you thought had a former vice president of the United States of America riding inside and trying to run it off the road? Did none of you think that was possibly a crime? Oh, but don't worry. I'm sure you're all going to employ the Kyle Rittenhouse defense and get a GoFundMe so you can get $1 million in patriotic donations from other patriots who think that blocking traffic is patriotic. Right, patriots? Just checking. Funny, no reports of people mowing them down in the streets. Apparently, only assholes do that, and all the assholes on the street on Sunday were the ones blocking traffic. Well played, assholes. Well played. Last story of the weekend, just to show you how fucked things are and where Trump supporters' heads are at. Here you go. Man thought people were stealing Donald Trump signs, so he shot them. 3 people were shot late Saturday in North Topeka after a man confronted people he thought had committed past thefts of signs promoting the campaign of Donald Trump. Police weren't specifying who was thought to have shot whom, or revealing their names, ages, or genders of those who were wounded. So that's it, people. This is the last day before the election, and Trump supporters spent the entire weekend cheering on potential fascism by the U.S. government and encouraging more Trump-loyal federal troops to be out in the streets on Election Day, joining the Oath Keepers and the rest of the militia people who have already stated they would be positioning themselves outside of polling stations. We have the racist as fuck White House declaring Victims of Immigrant Violence Day. Biden team gets run off the road. Trump supporters everywhere block traffic. And some chucklehead goes and shoots 3 people because he thought they stole his Trump signs sometime in the past. 1 day left, everybody. Keep your eye on the prize. I am out. Peace.